Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Hi, hope you are having a happy Saturday wherever you are. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Hello. Of course, Harry and Meghan, Archie and Baby Lily and Mama Doria and Poola and Guy, the chickens, Mama Mia, all the rest, and all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, you guys. Um, hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm having one of those days. You ever had one of those days where you have to do something like hang out with a group of your friends online and then you just have a very disturbing conversation before and you're like, oh, and now I have to try to be nice. And not that it was, horrible conversation. It was one of those conversations that was just like, but it is what it is. It just, I guess, disagree. One of those we have to agree to disagree conversations that you just don't need to have before you you come online or you talk to a group of people, because that is very distracting and it's whatever. Anyway, so I just had to get that off my head, because it would be bothering me if I didn't say where I am. But I hope you guys, wherever you are having a better day than I am. Or at least a better, last half hour than I am having. Hello to all my friends in the chat. Connie, hello. Karen Emma, awesome moderator. Jose, I almost said Josie. Jose Williams, hello. Who else is here? Black Queen, our awesome moderator is here. Hello, Black Queen. Hello. Wait, did I say Lydia? I totally thought I saw Lydia in the post. Hello, Olive. How are you? Not happy you're here. Mrs. Ansa, she's like, oh wait, I moved the time. Oh, normally it's 1:30. You know what? Last week, I started at 1:30 and then it got kind of loud here. So I was like, let me start it on a Sunday a little earlier, maybe get away with more silence, so that's why. Sorry. But the replay is always there, even though I'd rather, have you here with us, but replay is always there. That's fine. Nalo Thandu, hello, my friend, my South African friend. How are you doing? Here's Lydia, because I'm like, I could have sworn I saw Lydia. Hello, Lydia. How are you? Just saying hello to everyone. And V. Thomas, I see you there. And all of our other friends, I will say hello as we go on. Yep, I see you, Helen and Auntie Jane and Emma Day. I see you guys. But oh my goodness, what is happening in our Sussex world? I know this was a couple of days, and I wanted to do a podcast yesterday, but I'm just realizing how slow I am. Like, I need to get like faster with putting these things together or editing videos. Like, I am like, I think the slowest person in the world. It takes me forever to do something, and then by the time I'm done putting it together, it's like almost 1 o'clock this morning. It's so funny. Like, I posted a video that I've been working on forever, sort of like an update, like, I don't know, 2 o'clock this morning, and someone was on there like, you're up late. I'm like, yes, I know, but it takes me forever to put these things together. So I'm gonna get faster at it and better at it. But right now, because I think I'm so picky and I have a technical eye, so it's like everything that's wrong, I will see it and then want to change everything. And so it's so, I'm like, maybe I should not have somebody else edit things, because I just see too many things and I keep correcting and correcting and correcting, and it's driving me crazy. So yeah. Anyways, enough of that. But our faves, I'm still not over them being in New York. It was just so wonderful, even though we didn't see them at all in around the city, which I'm happy about. Even though I was there wanting to see them, I'm really happy that we didn't see them, and that seems they had a really wonderful time here. And of course, that's Meghan and our second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, who is the husband of our Vice President Kamala Harris. And so it is wonderful. But again, it's not a surprise. Our VP has always supported Meghan forever. She and other members of her family, I think it's either her niece. I think her niece is like, I think her name is like is it Nina or something like that? I forgot what her niece's name. I think it's her niece that always supports Meghan, and she's like, look at her as an honorary squatty. But yeah, no. VP has always supported Meghan, so I'm not surprised. I'm sure they've known each other and have met before, but this is the first time we're seeing a public, a photo of them together. And of course, the vice president is from California, so obviously, they're supporting their California peeps, And actually, I think Doug Emhoff is also from California, so hello, and of course that's Surgeon General Vivek Murthy with them. Obviously, we saw him when they did their session, the summit with him there. Every time I go back and listen to it, the summit, it is just so impacting, and this man has so much empathy and so much wisdom about how to love. And I love his, when he talks about just community, the importance of building community. Like he cannot, help and save his children, especially from social media, without community. I love when he's talking about, there's going to be a time when, because he doesn't want to have his kids be on social media until after middle school. And he's like, but they're going to have this conversation where these kids are going to be like, well, I'm the only one and all my friends. And so he's like, well, if we have community, I could say, no, you're not the only one. Harry and Meghan's kids are not on social media. And so to help them to feel like, oh, well, okay, maybe we're not alone. But there's so many wonderful nuggets that he talked about. And also, I also love, as I was watching it again, and I forgot to even mention, I don't think a lot of people have mentioned it really, about him just really thanking Harry and Meghan for, creating this community to bring the families together. Because again, as Harry and Meghan was saying, individually people do what they do, but to come together as a community, as Harry and Meghan have been, and been with the families for working with them for over a year, it's a space where nobody has created that space, and so they stepped in and has created this wonderful community. And so I just love, like, he was thanking them for creating that community, and I was like, yeah. But I now follow him on Twitter, and so it's just like, and he is really all about child safety and making sure kids are safe online, and making sure we protect their mental health and all of those things. So he is a stand-up guy, such a really cool stand-up guy. And so I love this photo. And even though it's so funny, if you look at where Harry and Meghan are looking, whoever took this photo, it's just like, come on, people, take that photo when they're looking at each other. Like Harry and Meghan are not even looking at second gentleman. They're looking off to something on the side. And he is looking at the Surgeon General. And so, it's just obviously, photo is just a a millisecond of of what is going on. So, but it's just very interesting. But I just love the photo. What's not to love? What is not to love? And it's so funny. There are these obviously receipts from a while back, 2019, 2021, and when VP was, we obviously know this when Meghan was talking about, that she was not really doing well as a royal this was when they were in South Africa, when they did an interview for the documentary. And so Vice President Kamala Harris had tweeted us that this is incredibly important. We must remember that it is a sign of strength to show emotion. Meghan, we're with you. And then again in 2020, she's like, the only wrong thing to say is to say nothing. Thank you, Meghan, for this powerful statement. That's, of course, when she was doing I think it was a graduation speech for her old school, Sacred Heart, or what? Is it Sacred Heart is her school, or maybe that's a school in New York? But Immaculate Heart, I think it's Immaculate Heart is hers, or is it one of them? I forgot. I think it's Immaculate Heart. But anyways, but so this isn't surprising at all. I just really, yeah. Joy says the second gentleman communication posted this picture on her Instagram account. Oh, so that's how we got it. Oh, okay. I saw that from I think it was Royal Suda who posted it, and she credited someone. I think her name was Lisa, and she's on Twitter. And I didn't see when I checked. I think it was on Twitter. She was when I checked. I didn't see anything, but I didn't even think of Instagram, so I didn't even look. So but it was great because again, look at where the Sussexes are, and they didn't even refer to this. They did not post anything about it. They never said obviously said anything about it. They didn't have to. And so imagine, when you see this, imagine, again, Prince Harry already have relationships with the president and vice president. I mean, so when you see stuff like this, you can only imagine all the places that they are that we have no idea about. And so it's wonderful to see. It is wonderful to see. And of course, with after, and again, we don't have proof that it's because of Harry and Meghan, but to see right the day after this summit, where the Surgeon General is a part of it, Doug Emhoff comes in to be a part of, and again, he came in for the event later that night that Project Healthy Minds was doing. They had a gala that night, very expensive gala. It's like something like 50,000 a table or something crazy like that. It was like, ooh, and so he came in to be part of that. So for me, when I see that, and then the next day is when our governor and attorney general James, they announced that New York's standard, and in protecting kids and this new legislature that they're putting forward, I guess, to protect kids online. And I was just like, fantastic. So it's really, I mean, I'm still not over it. I'm sure you guys have moved on to other things, but I'm not over it. I think because they were in New York and it was a success. That's why I'm not over it. So I mean, it would have been nice to see them, but I take it. So there you go. What else is happening? I remember library Twitter. We used to joke about library Twitter all the time. When Harry's book came out, and library Twitter was going crazy because everybody wanted to get the book, and of course there are long lines all over the place about library Twitter, and everybody wanted Spare, and they would have. I mean, it was just crazy. It was an everybody must read book, and so I hadn't focused on library Twitter in a while. And then, of course, I ran into this a couple of days ago. Duke of Sussex memoir climbs back up the charts to number 2. So it is back up to number 2. I mean, again, this book was released January 10th. And so it has climbed back up to number 2 in library Twitter. And not only that, I saw this wonderful story today. I think it was in a library in the UK that this woman accidentally checked out the Spanish version of the book, but she was so desperate to not have to go back online because it was obviously it's still a long line at whatever library she's. It's still a long line to get the book. She didn't want to go back on a long line. She just wanted to read the book. So what did she do? She proceeded to learn Spanish so she can read the book in Spanish. I'm telling you, kudos to that lady. I was just like, that is some straight up desperation to read a book. That is some commitment. That is, I mean, hey, she's going to get to learn a different language. I mean, she would rather sit there and learn, Spanish and translate hey, she could always use Google Translate and translate that book so she would get it. So she does not have to go on a long line to wait again for the book. And I'm telling you, that is commitment. And that is amazing. I was just like, you go. And that reminds me, I still have my book. So that person who said they wanted it, I never heard from you. So I, definitely if you need the book, if you have not read it and you still want to read it, and I do have a book. I do have it here. So let me know. Send me an email at factsand2cents@gmail.com and send me your address and I will send it off to you. So there you go. Anyway, so kudos to Harry's book. Doing great things. And I'm telling you, whatever happened to all those people in the UK who said that they were getting rid of Netflix because of the Sussexes, because they had to deal with them, because they have the Harry and Meghan docuseries. What happened to those people? I thought they were canceling Netflix. I thought they were canceling. I mean, they're like, anything Harry and Meghan are part of, we're canceling. And it's just like, really? Because maybe they forgot what canceling mean, because according to Euro Weekly, Harry and Meghan boost Netflix UK sales rose to more than 1.5 billion pounds last year. Recently published accounts reveal. Unlike mediocre figures for Netflix globally, its UK sales grew by 12%, from 1.38 billion to 1.54 billion. And it goes on. In the year ending December 2022. The online stream giant was boosted by the 6-part documentary series featuring Duke and Duchess of Sussex, which launched on December 8th last year. Harry and Meghan premiere was 2022 most watched new subscription program with 4.5 million viewers for its first episode, according to Broadcasters Audience Research Board. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess maybe somebody need to explain to British people what cancellation means. Or they're just full of, whatever. It's funny, like, we're not going to watch, we're canceling. And yet, yeah. And these are the same people that would turn around and tell us, or try to convince their minions that Harry and Meghan are a failure for Netflix. They're a failure. Nobody watched it. Netflix is canceling their card. These are the same people who turn around and tell you that. And it's just like, well, numbers don't lie. And these are the straight up facts. So it's just funny. It's funny watching all of their lies come apart. And not only they're reporting it, but even I saw the Telegraph, which I'm like, I'm not using the Telegraph. I have Euro Weekly, and so it's just very funny. It is very funny to watch all of their lies and all of that stuff. And it's so, and I always think about what it would be like to constantly believe lies and then have all the lies blow up in my face and be proven a lie. And yet I'm continuing to believe lies. And I just like, you see people like that, and it's just like, but everything you believed has really been proven a lie. Why do you continually search out lies to believe the lies? And then you always blow up in your face. And it's just like, that saying, you can't fix stupid. I think that's the case right there. You literally can't fix stupid. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable that people just Lady T says they kick out lies like there is nothing else happening in the world, and the truth comes out and they're sitting looking stupid, which is exactly what, and this happens over and over and over and over. And it's like, at what point do you stop and say, you know what, this is stupid. This is absolutely stupid. Dale says, though nuts weren't going to cancel Netflix, they want to see Harry and Meghan worser than us. Oh, okay. I get it. They do. It's just, I think, is that initial like, because, if you say that online, I guess you feel like it gives you clout or something. Like, I'm going to cancel Netflix. Some of them you probably can't even afford Netflix. You're probably like, going over to somebody's house to watch their Netflix. It's like, it's the same people, it's like they're wearing something from like Dior or something. I am going to cancel. I would never shop at Dior again. And it's just like, you don't have any money to shop at Dior in the first place. You're not their client. And it's just a lot of it is stuff like this, so it's just really wild. But anyway, kudos to Harry and Meghan again. I mean, it's been such a successful docuseries that, most watched docuseries for Netflix ever. So there you go. And Suits, even though there's still a strike, even though they're still, apart, and they've stopped negotiating, which is really infuriating. Because we talked about it before with the studios, they're really trying to strong arm SAG. But even with that, because of the the wonderful, I guess, really incredible, success of Suits being on Netflix, it's, of course, we've been talking about, are they gonna either are they gonna continue the series? Are they gonna reprise it again? Are they gonna try to do something different with the same characters, whatever? So Aaron Korsh, the series creator, he had kind of thrown out different things, of what he's thinking, including a series starring Wendell Pierce, who was Meghan's dad on the show. And so this came out yesterday. It says, after a summer of breaking streaming records, Suits may be opening new offices. Aaron Korsh is developing a show in a world of legal drama, set in the world of the legal drama. The series would feature new characters and a new setting similar to the other multi-show franchises. A little bit more about it. It says, after the let's see. Series creator Aaron Korsh is in the early stages of developing a show set in the world of the USA Network legal drama for NBC Universal, which is where they were before. And it's not a reboot or sequel. Instead, the potential series would feature new characters and new settings similar to the other multi-show franchise. Whether there would be any crossover potential with the original is a question for much further down the road. Los Angeles is most likely the setting for the project, the sources said. And so I don't expect to see Meghan on a show, but I could totally see Meghan working in producing, being a producer on the show. I could totally see that, because that's more what she, seemed, the direction she seems to want to be, and why not? So it's just like, I could totally see it. I can totally see it. And or maybe you should want to be acting again. A lot of people are saying, we'd love to see her acting again. I don't see Meghan. She said never say never, so who knows? Who knows? Maybe she will, but for me, at the stage where she is now and more focused on creating content, I would more love to see her as a producer on the show, and maybe even directing an episode or something like that. I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of person, so that's where I see them, and and that way you have more control that way anyway. So there you go. But yeah, it just I just it's very exciting. It's very exciting, and maybe he's gonna go down, with Rachel's dad, Wendell Pierce's character. So maybe that's where he's going. Who knows? But it's good to see. Why not? And again, it's been very frustrating with the strike. Again, the strike is the good thing, but even with that, it has the cast has not been able to really publicly celebrate and get all the great things that come out of a hit show, because they have had to be mute. Even when Patrick, in a moment of just, I just love my peeps and I miss them, had to delete everything and apologize because it was breaking strike rules. And so, yeah, they have not been able to get their flowers like everyone who has a hit show, and it's just been heartbreaking to watch, and they so deserve it. So I fear by the time they're able to, when the strike is over, Suits, the heyday of it, would have passed, and they would have missed it, and it just sad all the way around. Oh, those studios. Anyways. Oh gosh, Dale is like, Paddle, you have never lied. No, not true. I try not to. I try not to, and if I do, and I catch it, I will definitely apologize. Or if you catch me in that, definitely call me out. Yeah, that's something I'm very much, it's so funny, even with that. Like when I was much younger, I used to lie a lot. And then one of my friends, we started reading the Bible, and I remember she literally said to me, Pedal, remember how Jesus always says, I tell you the truth? I want you to practice that. So I did. So anything I would say I tell you the truth. And then I kind of got to the other extreme of that where I got so bluntly truth that it would be hurtful. And so I had to learn to speak the truth in love. That's that middle ground where you speak the truth, but you speak it in love, where it's not just blunt hammer that you bash over somebody's head, you know. So all of that with growth and maturity. So there, so that's kind of where I am. So I always try to, you know, and again, you get to a certain age, you're just like, look, you just might as well just be honest, you know? That's how I think. Anyways, moving on. Talking about suits and talking about lies. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is just hilarious. In Facts East Africa, fact, Kenyan authorities have arrested a fake lawyer, Brian Mwenda, who has falsely been presenting himself as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. He argued 26 cases before the High Court judges, magistrates, and Court of Appeal judges. He won all 26 cases before his arrest. And who does he remind you of? I couldn't believe that there is a real life Mike Ross. It is so hilarious. So of course I tweeted at Aaron Korsh. I'm like, this is your fault. Don't be, you know, I mistakenly said, you know, Nigerian police, but it's the Kenyan police. Don't be afraid. Don't be surprised if they come knocking at your door as inciting this guy to go around calling himself a lawyer. But you know, it's like they arrest him. But I'm like, dude, this man won 26 cases. He tried 20, you know, he argued 26 and he won 26 cases. Get this man out of jail and help him to be a legit lawyer. He is good. And then you look on the other side, you're like, wow, if I was the lawyer on the other side, I would have to be really wondering about my education about now if I got beat by somebody who is not even a lawyer. So he's obviously good. He's obviously knows the law. Yes, there's got to be consequences for going around and faking being a lawyer. Yes, definitely penalize him for that. But he's obviously good. He could benefit your community. So penalize him for what he did, but get him out of jail and get him to be legit so that he can help people. You know, so yeah, it's just, I mean, the guy is obviously good. He argued 26 cases and he won all 26. I mean, that's not somebody you want in prison. That is somebody who maybe for whatever reason, maybe couldn't afford to get, you know, to go to law school. He maybe couldn't afford, Mike Ross, you know, whatever the reason is, you know, get this man to become legit. Obviously, there are consequences to go around being a fake lawyer, but, you know, definitely let him pay, you know, maybe when he gets his, you know, he becomes legit, he, you know, fine him, let him pay back whatever, you know, whatever that needs. But this man does not belong in jail. He doesn't belong in jail. So I hope that they have righted that and got him out and, you know, helping him to become a legit lawyer. Shoot. I would hire him, you know, like you argue 26 cases and you won all of them against people who are actual lawyers. I'm hiring you. So yeah, get that man out. But it's so funny, you know, with here we have the real life Mike Ross in Kenya. So there you go. I mean, look at the white wig thing. Is that like a British thing, right? Where they had those white wig things. It just I just thought it was very funny. It's just like, wow. But very impressive too. Very, very impressive. Oh shoot. Lydia says, Pedal, where are you on your Suits marathon? I kind of forgot. I'm in the middle. It's so funny. I was watching and watching and watching, and then somehow we got to season 2, and I didn't realize I was in season 2. So I think I got to like the 3rd episode of season 2, I want to say, but I forgot. So I'm gonna start again. Oh, maybe I'll start today. Maybe I'll start later on today. That could be my thing I'll do today. So there. I'm just not good at these marathon things. I would do it for a couple of days and then forget about it. So thank you, Lydia, for reminding me on Suits, my Suits marathon. But yeah, this is, I mean, I say, good. I'm telling you, get this man out of prison, get this man out of jail, get him legit. Um, and oh my goodness, I hope you guys remember Luminary Bakery. Luminary Bakery is now 10 years old. I didn't realize when Meghan was there that they had been around that long. So yeah, Luminary Bakery, they celebrated a couple days ago. They celebrated their 10th anniversary. So I don't know if Meghan did anything with them. Maybe she, send them a congratulations or whatever. We don't know, but Ham and High, I guess that's like an outlet in the UK. They did a little write-up on them. Says social enterprise bakery, which offers life-changing training to vulnerable women, has celebrated its 10th birthday. Since starting in a church kitchen in Bethnal Green, Luminary has helped scores of disadvantaged women to gain skills and confidence to find work and to set up their own businesses, and has been championed by the Duchess of Sussex. And of course, we see Meghan's picture at the bottom there with the cake when she was there. As well as serving loyal customers at their cafes in Stokes, Newton Town, and Camden. They bake celebration cakes, serve delicious treats at corporate events for the likes of Microsoft, Deloitte, and post their bakes UK wide. So congratulations to Luminary Bakery. They are doing great work for women, disadvantaged women. We all remember when Meghan was there, and even I remember 2019 was one of those when Meghan was there, when they had come back from South Africa and the press was just really attacking, and Meghan was there with what's that girl? I always forget her name, who did the podcast with Harry. And they were there with them. Meghan sat down with some of the women, even though she was going through such a hard time. The press was really, oh my goodness, they were really vile in how they were attacking her. She was there, really celebrating the women and helping and listening to women. It was her and Brianni Gordon, and Brianni actually wrote an article in the Telegraph about her time with Meghan, an interview with Meghan, and being there with the women as well. So, and when Sussex Royal was there on Twitter, Meghan had posted like some sweets and stuff that was, I think was her birthday or something like that, that Luminary Bakery had sent over. And so it was just really, I love their relationship. So hopefully they still have that relationship, even though we haven't heard about it in a while. So, but congratulations to Luminary Bakery. Awesome, awesome, awesome work. And as they said, like I remember, some of the girls or the women, I should say, that was there when Meghan was there, actually started their own business, baking and all of that stuff. So it was really kudos to them, man. Absolutely great, great, great things happening for them. And away from that really wonderful news, a little bit into world news. We were talking about this the other day, and I just, was browsing around Twitter and just seeing different people's reactions. Very interesting reactions to what's going on. And I'm not going to spend much time into this at all, but I just thought it was very interesting how the different responses, but what's going on in Israel and what's going on in Ukraine, and how it's very similar, but how the different responses are. And so I ran into it. A tweet from Yulia Paeska, who we talked about here a lot, from the Ukraine and as part of Invictus Games. And she tweeted this, as she says, the ongoing war in Israel highlights the ineffectiveness of international laws of aggressors. My sincere condolences to the people of Israel and to Ukrainians who sought refuge from war. Here only for war to find them. Only for war to find them. Stay strong. Together, we will overcome evil. And President Zelensky, who is obviously the president of Ukraine, he also tweeted, he says, I spoke to Netanyahu, who is the leader in Israel, to affirm Ukraine's solidarity with Israel, which suffers from the brazen large-scale attack, and to express condolences for multiple victims. The Prime Minister informed me that of the current situation and the actions of Israel's defense force and law enforcement to repel attack. I noted cooperation between Israel police and the Ukrainian diplomats with regards to the safety and the protection of Ukrainian citizens in Israel. We also discussed the attack's ramifications for the security situation in the region and beyond. And of course, Zelensky is Jewish, so understood. But it was very interesting. So I was looking just how interesting it is, because right now in Ukraine, as we know, Russia invaded Ukraine, and they're just wreaking havoc all over Ukraine, bombing and all of that stuff, basically decimating cities. They're doing, we know the story of what's happening. They came in, they invaded, and they have completely, they are trying to just take out Ukraine. And so Zelensky's been all over the world trying to gain support, and Russia is the aggressor, right? That's the narrative. And it's very interesting in how they are in that situation where a country has come in and trying to take out their country, and they view that as aggression, and obviously it is. They view that as wrong. It's definitely aggressive, and it's definitely should not happen, and they are the bad guys. But when they switched it and they went to, think about Israel, even though the facts are that Israel has invaded into Palestine and taken their land and been the aggressor, they view it as the people who got invaded on as the aggressor. And so they side with Israel, who were the ones invading. And so it's kind of like, well, so when in your country, the person invading is the aggressive one and the bad guy, but in Israel, the invading party is the good guy, and the people whose land they're taking away is the bad guy. And so it's very interesting to me, the hypocrisy in that whole thing. It's like, how do you come up with that? And again, look, Zelensky is Jewish, so I get it. And I'm actually not even sure if Tyre is. I didn't even check, but it's very interesting. It was just very interesting how they view that. So it's just like, and again, look, everybody have their opinions. I am not, one way or another. People could think how they want. You side with who you want, or you see this situation as how you want. I just thought it was very interesting, especially in this situation with two people who are in literally the same situation as Palestinians are in. But when it comes to the Palestinian, they side with the invading party. And so it just was like, wow, that's an interesting take, but the good thing, if there anything good thing, last time we talked about this, not many people were calling out what was happening. Not many people were calling out Israel for what they were doing. It's almost like mute. And it's kind of like we were like screaming, and a lot of times felt like screaming into the void. Like, where are the leaders of this world? Where are the people? Don't you see what is happening? And so after that, it's like people started speaking up, like the human rights, the UN started speaking out against what is happening. Even I saw, like, literally China of all cases where you have human rights, all kind of problems and violation, China is calling it out. I was just like, you have to be bad for China of all places to be calling you out, but the UN, they've been tweeting, nonstop about what's going on, and I'm very happy to see the leaders at the UN and all of those are really like, no, this is wrong. You have to stop, because it is a humanitarian. It's beyond a crisis now. UN spokesman says even war have rules. International humanitarian laws and human rights laws must be respected and upheld. Citizens must be protected and never use their shields. That's out the window because, hello. Human rights, they also, Rights Watch tweeted that, I mean, this is one of numerous tweets that they have been putting out. No matter what the other side does, no one has a right to target civilians. Deliberately killing civilians is a war crime. It is hostage taking. All the parties to the conflict are obliged to respect the laws of war. Hashtag Israel Palestine, and they're not taking, they're like, whomever is doing it, this is a human rights violation. These are war crimes, and as we talked before, this is what they're doing. This is what Israel is doing. It's a war crime, no matter how you want to do it, how you want to think about it. The International Red Cross is like, thousands of buildings have been destroyed. Mass casualties are unlike anything seen in past years. The medical system is on its knees. Gaza has no power. Hospital has no power. Hospital lose power. Water cannot be pumped. Sewage systems will likely flood. People have nowhere else to go. Human Rights tweeting about it. Tedros, who is with the WHO, tweeted at the bottom. It says, deeply grieved tonight. Health workers and patients at hospitals in North Gaza are dealing with imminent and ongoing evacuations. I plead with the Israeli government to revoke its decision to avoid human tragedy. And the UN Human Rights says Israel must not target medical facilities. International humanitarian law requires parties to conflict to apply at minimum that the wounded and the sick be collected and cared for without discrimination. Attacks against medical facilities, medical personnel, and wounded and the sick are prohibited. That is out the window because they've been doing it. Doctors are being killed. I mean, it's just like all of this is happening right now. And, one of the things that happened in the last day, some of the governments have started speaking out, including Emmanuel Macron and France, who I know in France, they were, for a moment there, trying to ban people from protesting. And of course, French people don't really listen to that nonsense. They went out and they were, they were protesting. This is London yesterday. They are today. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. This is London. I mean, kudos to people in London. They went out en masse. I know Misan Harriman took a lot of photos. He was in the protest. And I actually thought the protest in New York was last night, and I missed it on Friday. I thought it was going to be yesterday. And I then, reading on Twitter, realized it was Friday. And I was like, so I'm assuming New York is going to have another one soon. But this was London yesterday. And kudos to the people in London who stood out there and they're like, no, we're not going to have this. And one of the things Misan talks about was how many Jewish people were there. They're like, look, we love our people, but what is happening is wrong. And again, in situations like this, you have got to call out wrong, whether it's your family members, your friends, your whatever. When you see them doing this kind of thing, you need to call it out. You need to say, no, you got to stop. This is wrong. And so it's so good to see Jewish people out there, saying, no, we love our country, we love our people, but this is wrong. Genocide is wrong, and we're not going to sit here and allow you to do it. So what happened, today and yesterday, and actually he even tweeted after I put this up there, President Biden finally saying something about it. We must not lose sight of the fact that the overwhelming majority of Palestinians had nothing to do with Hamas's appalling attacks and are suffering as a result of them. No, President Biden, lies and gaslighting. Yes, Hamas, attacked. But a lot of what is going on again, resulting in what the Jewish government have been doing to the people of Palestine. And the fact that he just literally blaming the suffering only on Hamas is complete. I mean, dude. This propaganda is not going to work. People are not buying these lies anymore because, one, you're not saying, you're not talking about Israel bombing Palestine. You're not saying all the things that Israel are doing that these world leaders, the World Health Organization, the UN is calling out. Why? Because the US has sided with them. And so this, and then today, he posted a tweet, probably like, I don't know, less than half an hour ago, that he spoke to, I think, Mahmoud Abbas, who's for for Palestine, letting them know that they're working on getting humanitarian aid. And one of the reasons is because there are a lot of Americans living in that area. They're trying to get Americans out. And I think it was either Egypt or one of them was like, no, unless you bring in humanitarian aid, we're not giving you a corridor to get them out. And so they're trying to negotiate that. The fact is, they're not the American government have not considered the humanitarian the humanity of these people. They have sided with Israel, and they are not calling out what is actually happening. And this is the problem. So people are not buying it. So now they're forced to sort of backtrack and like, oh no, we care about. And it's like, no, if you cared about them, you would call out Israel action to stop. They are doing it right now. They are bombing as we speak because they have the support of the American government. And so it's one of those things that is really, really sickening. And so it's good to see Cyril Ramaphosa, even though I'm not here for him a lot of times, but he understands what apartheid is because, again, South Africa, and so they have pledged their support again and solidarity with the people of Palestine. The French government, again, they were trying to block people from protesting, but Macron, they're seeing that people will not stay quiet and they're not buying the lying narrative that the Western governments are putting out there and their sycophantic media are putting out there, and they're seeing the truth for what it is. And so Macron is trying to backtrack, and he's like, France is now is working to quickly end this period of violence and tension for the benefit of Israel, Palestine, the Middle East, and the world. I continue to speak to actors in the region today with Prime Minister Netanyahu and then to President Sisi. And so, so they're backtracking. I think Canada also put out something about, humanitarian aid and stuff like that, because and I think this is why it's important for people to speak up and to protest and to call them out, because if we don't, these leaders will, leaving out Ramaphosa, because they've always supported Palestine, because they have been on their path, so they know what that is. But these Western leaders, they all were there, right there, lockstep with Israel, and they did not care about Palestine. But because people are protesting, because people are loudly calling them out and calling out the media's lies and hypocrisy, they are starting to backtrack because people are no longer buying it. They are no longer buying, oh, it's just this one side. Let me call the Arab people terrorists, but let's call Israel, oh no, they're just defending themselves, and refusing to call out the atrocities that Israel is a part of and that they're doing. And so people are no longer buying it. So now they're forced to backtrack. And that is why, for me, it is so important that we speak out. And nobody, it's not speaking out like, oh, I hate Jewish people. I don't. I love Jewish people. But again, when you see your people and that you love are doing wrong and are blatantly committing genocide against the people, you can't just sit there. You have to speak. You have to call them out. Because not only are they destroying the people that they're attacking and killing, they're going to, in the end, destroy themselves. And so we have to call people out. We have to, call out the lies. And a lot of times people have risked, people have lost jobs for speaking up in support of Palestine. Look, we're going to have to risk at some point. We're going to have to risk everything to call this stuff out, And so, look, we have to do what we need to do, because right now it's Palestine. That's there. But eventually it's going to be us. And we're going to need somebody standing up for us, And so I feel like, especially Black and brown people, look, we got to, we got to stand up for each other. And so when we see stuff like this, for me, it is not acceptable. I can't two sides these things. When we see wrong, we got to call it out, and we're going to have to risk friendship. We're going to sometimes have to risk relationships for call out this stuff, in hopes that our friends and our family who are perpetuating these behavior will change. Not out of hate. I don't hate them. I hate nobody. I do hate what they're doing. I hate what the government is doing. I don't hate the people. And so, again, I'm glad to see people backtracking. I'm glad to see people realizing that the world is not going to co-sign their genocide. We're not going to co-sign. We're not going to sit around and allow them to do it and be like, okay, it's just Hamas. We're not going to do that. And so for me, it's so good to see people like, nah, this is not, we're not here for that. So yeah. And so that's all I got to say on that. But moving on. I know I'm kind of passionate about these things. If you want to donate something, great. I mean, as we know, World Central Kitchen is everywhere. There's recently earthquakes, I think, in Afghanistan. There's earthquakes in Morocco. They're all over. And so they're also in Israel. And so they are working to get food to Israelis who are in the path of this. And there are people in Israel who have suffered because of this, who have lost everything because of this, who have died because of all of this, and obviously the people in Gaza. And so World Central Kitchen is there. They are working in Israel, in Gaza. And so when Harry and Meghan talk about they are working with their partners over there, I'm sure World Central Kitchen is one of those, because they are in Israel working to feed people in Gaza and in Israel. And so Jose Andres says, I'm heartbroken at the loss of life, families, children in Israel and Gaza. World Central Kitchen has been working to start operations feeding in both Gaza and Israel today. To support these efforts for innocent families, I'm giving $1 million. I'll share more about our work here every day. And so if you're on social media, if you're on Twitter, definitely jump over there and check out more of what World Central Kitchen is doing. You can straight up just go to their website and donate, or you can he just wrote a book, and in that book is recipe from Meghan and a former forever floaters, I should say, Michelle Obama and others who gave their recipes to the book, and all the proceeds for that go towards the work of World Central Kitchen. So you can donate that way, but specifically if you just straight up want to go donate to the work that World Central Kitchen is doing around the world, just go to their website. You can straight donate to that as well. And as you can see, they are working in Afghanistan, where they had like a 6.3 earthquake, and so they're there. There's also the earthquake in Morocco. They're there. I mean, they are everywhere. And so definitely, if you want to support, this is a great organization. The squad has done fundraisers for them and all of that stuff. So yeah, definitely, if you're interested, that's a great place to to donate, to help. And so yeah, let's see, a little bit stay in the chat for a minute, or at least go to the Black Queen, thank you so much. But I love you being an unapologetic humanitarian. Oh, lady after my own heart. This is 2023. We're still standing by and watching the genocide of innocent humans. Shame on them. Yeah, it's like we can't stand by. And more people, it's just good to see more and more people stand up and not allow, and not stay silent and pretend like nothing is happening. It's sad, but it's sad to see when you see people in leadership just lie or gaslight, and then you see the media, who's supposed to be holding them to, holding true to power. You're supposed to be holding them to account, and then they go along with the lies and this propaganda for whatever reason. It is just, that's why I cannot, and I do not watch network television. I do not watch their news, because I know it's just a bunch of lies and prepackaged nonsense, and I don't ever take anything they say. I don't even watch it. So unbelievable. But thank you, Black Queen, for your donation. I appreciate it. Thank you. Judy says, but why was the U.S. Embassy removed from Palestine? I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to go check on that. Don't have the answer. Let's see. Lady T says it has to be called what it is. It is a genocide. It is. It is no other way. You are like literally wiping out people. It is a genocide. It is what it is. And to see the American government and the president not calling it what it, not even blaming Israel, not even saying what Israel is doing. It is it's like, and you want us to vote for you? Okay. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Um it's crazy how it's like they compartmentalize, because President Biden, I think it was last night, posted about, I think he was at this function, talk about basically like he's a champion for human rights. He's a champion for the LGBTQI and all of these things. He's a champion and human rights and stuff. And you're like, Palestine? You remember them that, you're supporting Israel, what they're doing to them? How could you sit here? And again, the compartment, it's crazy how they can compartmentalize. It's like, yeah, I'm a human rights for over here, but not over there. And it's just like, but aren't they human too? Aren't they people? And it's not just Palestine. There's so many places around. This world is a mess. Can I just say, it is just a mess. And again, you can't expect one person to be all over and all of it, but there are specific things where right is right and wrong is wrong. And so, yeah, interesting. Let's see. Sharon says, thank you, Beryl. I thought I was the only one seeing the wrong in this. Oh, no, Sharon. So many. I mean, I don't know if you are online at all, if you're in social media at all. I mean, yeah, people are not buying this nonsense anymore. And that's why you see the sort of the backtrack, and some of the governments are sort of backtracking and all of a sudden talking about humanitarian, because all of them were in on it. All of them were like, yeah, Israel, we're supposed. And again, this is not I hate Israel. Don't not ever get me wrong. It's like I do not, but again, when you love people and you consider people that, these are people, whatever, you still have to call them out when they're doing wrong. And what they're doing is wrong. And this is, wrong is such a, it's like, talk about an understatement of the year. What they're doing is genocide. What they're doing is committing genocide. And you cannot sit back, no matter how much you care for people and love people, you have to call those out and do whatever it is within your means to stop it and to get them to stop it. And it is within the U.S. means to able to stop Israel, and they have not. And so, yeah, don't sit here telling me about you are into human rights when you allow this stuff. That's crazy. And then you're blaming other people. No, no, I can't accept that. I can't. So, Yulibi says, you agree with you. It's not right. The Israel government, not the people, have been abusing the Palestine for years. Yeah. And their military, they've been using their military to do it, while the European and Americans stay silent. Why? Out of guilt, fear? Exactly. And now that's why you see, when Macron is sort of like, oh no, we try to get human rights. Yeah. And that is because his people, Americans, Canadians, UK, all over, people are supporting, because it's like, no, we cannot support, we can't sit back and allow another Holocaust to happen. Hello. And look who is doing it. You would that is the crazy part with all of this. This is the crazy part with all of that, So, anyways, Maverick says there are blockades and it's hard to get resources to Gaza unless mighty Israel allows it. Yeah. They're telling people to go, but then the people are going and they're bombing the roads. And well, and they can't come by you. So where are they going to go? They're sitting ducks. They are sitting ducks. And I think that is why the UN and all of them, even China, when China is calling you out, you're bad, because China, who is like, have all kind of human rights abuses, when they can see that's wrong, then you're like, okay, maybe I'm not going in the right direction here, So Maitland says, Sharon Maitland says, well, I have a Palestinian friend and an Israeli friend. Good. It's good. So I'm not sure what but it's great. It's like you love both, I'm sure, which is fine. Let's see. But anyway, I don't want to belabor, but so let's move on. I'm glad, at least I'm glad World Central Kitchen is there. I'm assuming Humanity Crew is there as well. I'm assuming that they're there as well. But again, it is hard getting aid into Gaza. So, anyways, let's move on. What else is going on? Oh, God. you know, what is going on in the Middle East right now is so bad that this, even though it's a mess, it doesn't even look so bad compared, because it's kind of like, oh, okay. And we know what happened. So anyway, Dan Wootton, we haven't heard from a while since he's been suspended from GB News. So he's been quiet, thankfully. Don't get me wrong. There are others at GB News who were happy to slip in and are still attacking the Sussexes. So don't think that has changed. GB News hasn't changed at all in any sense of the word. But with Dan, Tom Latcham, who is one of the reporters from Byline Times who has been outing Dan Wootton, he tweeted, it says, Dan Wootton's departure from GB News has been held up by legal matters. Of course, I expected that. According to sources, but Byline Times can confirm the journalist has put his house on the market with plans to move to Scotland. Suggested he accepted he will be axed from the channel. All I gotta say is that poor Scotland. This poor country, just all they want to do is get away from from England. They want to just get away. And Dan Wootton, oh God, the poor country's like, what did we do to deserve this? I mean, New Zealand is probably breathing a sigh of relief. They don't have to deal with this mess, but poor Scotland. Anyway, Tom Latcham goes on to say, exclusive continued. Dan Wootton is understood to have told his few remaining friends that he has nothing left for him in London. He plans to move to Scotland because that's where his partner is from. And he has apparently spoken many times about his partner in Scotland, how much he loves Scotland. And so that's where they believe that Dan Wootton will end up. I'm sure, as with every other UK white man, he will, fail up as hello, Pierce Morgan and the rest of them. He will fail up and he will be back on in some form, whether it's on television or something. That because that's the UK for you. So don't think that Wootton is not going to fail up. They all do. And so, anyways, off to Scotland, I guess. Very interesting. And catching up with our favorite fake priest, Calvin. I was cracking up yesterday, finding out what my favorite fake priest is up to has been a hoot. I was like, what? And trust me, if you don't know what Calvin has been up to, you're not going to expect the ending. I swear to you, you're not going to. Because the last time we talked about our favorite fake priest, he was campaigning because, GB News has just kicked him out. And so he was doing this GoFundMe because, trying to raise $30,000 as part of the GoFundMe. Says GB News was deacon. Yeah, apparently he's a deacon. GB News was Deacon Calvin's primary source of income. We are raising funds to keep a roof over his head so he can maintain self-supporting ministry in London. We are also raising funds for a potential legal battle. Deacon Calvin will not take this one lying down. Oh no, he won't. So, anyways, they were out there grifting from stupid UK people who, it seems like there's not a crisis going on where I guess they have funds that they could just give to grifters. So obviously, as you can see from the first picture there, at that time when I got this, he had already raised 28,682 of the 30,000 pounds. So I'm assuming he got his 30,000 pounds, And so people, hello, there's no cost of living crisis going on in the UK. So they have disposable funds to give a grifter, so there you go. So that's the last time when I had checked in, that's the last we talked about Calvin. Well, soon after that happened, this happened from, our favorite gossip that was like on one of the only papers that wrote about it. I had heard about it apart from that, but this is the only outlet that actually covered it. Suspended GB News presenter Reverend Calvin Robinson was sacked from the Royal Academy of Dance for opposing a drag queen, a drag queen storytelling session for children. He wins an £8,000 out of court settlement. So not only he got the 30,000, now he wins £8,000 from this. I guess the dance company sacked him because he opposed drag queens, and so they did this out of court thing. So he got that's what, £38,000 for Calvin. There you go, Calvin. And so the story is funny. The Evening Standard wrote about Calvin. It says cleric and former GB News motor out Calvin Robinson has been having a tough time since he was sacked by the channel last month, along with his brother in farce, Lawrence Fox. Now that GBN money has dried up, Robinson has been crowdfunding to pay his London rent. But that won't stop his jet setting. He has been in Florida. That's right. He's in the U.S. He's been in Florida on a paid-for preaching trip. And this week, he dropped into Disney World. Free entry, he says. Did Mickey Mouse require intercession? The Londoner has a morbid fascination with Robinson, apparently me too, who was a teacher before seeking ordination as an Anglican deacon. He left the Church of England in 2022 because he claimed woke bishops refused to give him a ministry. He then moved to a free church in England, a fringe group of clerics with conservative views. But even they, it seems, are a bit soft for the deacon. We understand he is now seeking ordination in a Nordic Catholic association. Sources inside the Free Church of England told us about his forthcoming departure from their flock. The same people who were funding for him to have a roof over his head. But would not go into details about the circumstances. We wonder what draws him to a Nordic Catholic association, a traditionalist Lutheran church based in Norway. Yeah. He's now going off to a church in Norway. Huh. Never mind that, church that was crowdfunding for him. Now that he's got his 30,000 pounds, he is off to Norway. And before he's that, stop in the US. And if you thought I was joking, this is Calvin in the US at Disney World. And these are his posts on his Instagram, his reels on his Instagram. Yep, there's Calvin at Disney World in the US. And not only that, yesterday, Calvin had this, I guess, seminar with this church in the US. And this is the reason why I had to come back and do a double and figure out what Calvin is up to yesterday when I saw this. Thank you, Otto English, who is a reporter in the UK. I don't even know what paper Otto works with, but he's a journalist out there, or reporter if you're UK. None of these people are journalists. I can't get over the light in the back of Calvin's head there. But anyways, according to, the little blurb from this church that Calvin is speaking, the St. Charles King and Martyr Anglican Church in Huntsville, Alabama, where he was speaking yesterday, this is from the little blurb. VIP speaker on life as a Christian in today's society. He is a very well-educated deacon, formerly a soldier in His Majesty Army, and the deacon of the Reformed Church of England. When was Calvin a soldier in His Majesty's Army? Everybody is trying to figure it out. Everybody is trying. I was looking everywhere to see where Calvin was a soldier in His Majesty's Army. Never mind, His Majesty just became His Majesty like a year ago, but that's beside the point. But when was Calvin a soldier? That's why Otto English posted, like, suddenly Calvin Robinson is a former soldier in His Majesty's Army. Like, when exactly did that happen? And everyone else is trying to figure out what on earth Calvin. And again, yesterday, as you can see there, October 14th, 3 to 7 p.m., Calvin was speaking at maybe I need to contact that church just to figure out why, how did Calvin become a soldier in His Majesty Army and exactly what period that was, you know. And if you think that is crazy, this is Calvin. I told you would have no idea where this story is going. This is Calvin yesterday. This is what Calvin posted yesterday. As you can see the date down there. What is Calvin doing in a gun shooting range? I'm like, I have no idea. Neither does anybody else. It's just like, this man is crazy. This is absolute madness. And this is what he tweeted yesterday. And he hath no sword, let him sell his garments and buy one. Okay. Well, is this gun the sword so you don't have to sell your garment because now you have a gun? Like, it's like, what? I am just like, what is this? What is this person? This is absolute madness. And I cannot believe churches are allowing this nutcase grifter to go and speak. Like, I can't even, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is crazy. It is. Anyways, this is Calvin. This is your update on Deacon Calvin Robinson, who will soon be off to Norway, abandoning, I guess, the people that did that, his fundraiser, getting him 30. I mean, I just can't even. Black Queen says, lock your door, Calvin is about to go postal. Maybe he'll do a clean sweep of the gutter press. I'm just like, Calvin is, Hello, Dewey's. How are you? I just like, Judy says, a soldier at GB News. LOL. I know, right? I'm like, a soldier in the King's. I just like craziness. Yasmin says they continue to believe the lies because if they admit to themselves it was all lies, they would have to admit they're fools. So they will keep believing the lies in hope something pans out. I truly believe that. I absolutely, truly believe that. Thank you, Yasmin. Very well put. Very well put. Black Queen, awesome moderator says. Oh, wait, I think I got that one before Black Queen. Lydia says, his karma will be worse than even Dan Wootton, a gun-toting deacon. He does not represent any god. I know. I mean, just, Calvin is, I'm like, that is just madness. Bonnie says Calvin making a mockery of the Christian faith. I mean, he has been doing it all along. It is just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Diane says GI Calvin. Diane says all of this is pure buffoonery. OMG. I know. I mean, you couldn't make this up if you tried. You could not make this up. It's just like the more I read, I'm like, what on earth? Karen Warner says, this has happened to the Palestinian. Oh, it's happened to Kenya. In Kenya, the people were pushed out of their homes and the best pieces of land taken over by the British. Yeah, yes, exactly. I mean, this is colonization all over again. This is absolutely, yes. Thank you, Karen. Diane says Calvin is a lie and the truth is not in him. He's likely trying to do a wordplay suggesting the soldier in God's army. That could be it. But when you put the in His Majesty, then people are gonna naturally think, King Charles. And so, yeah, it's just that way he writes it. That's where he can be like, well, I didn't quite mean that, give himself an out. It's just, It's craziness. Um, absolute craziness. Let's see. Um, Maggie says, nothing but a false prophet. Bible speaks of at length, yes. Black Queen's like, he is a toy, he was a toy soldier, yeah. It's like these people have no clue. Calvin the Clown. It's just, yeah, amazing. Um, Marjorie says this guy dressed like a priest, but he's not. Furthermore, deacon in Catholic Church are not supposed to dress with a color. Only priest and higher. Well, we did call him a fake priest for nothing. We don't call him a fake priest for nothing. He is fake. Lady H says fake everything. Wow. And when you think about, it's like you are with the company you keep, right? I mean, you think of what GB News is and that whole the whole thing is just fake. It is all just fake. And it is just like you can't, like, I would never trust any of those things. I mean, it's fake. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, the nonsense. So anyways, finally on this, we've been covering gymnastics. Had such a great, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed it, us talking about gymnastics, including me not knowing Antwerp is in Belgium and thought it was in Germany. Thank you, wonderful squatties, for the correction. It's just like, it's so funny. After the podcast, I was like, oh my god, that is so embarrassing. I am so embarrassed. That's why I love a very informed community, because when I blow it like that, you can definitely correct me, and I appreciate it. So anyway, we were talking about Simone Biles and the US team, that they did so well. And I think she ended up with like 5 of the 11 medals, 4 golds and 1 silver. And so obviously we're all celebrating. And you know what happens when Black people succeed? And it's so funny. Part of me, even while I was celebrating, I knew this was coming. I knew, it's like, as a Black woman, you just know when Black women, if you don't know, when Black women succeed, people move the goalposts when they can't catch up. It's just part of our lives. So it's like, part of me is like, even though I was celebrating, I'm like, I knew this was coming. And obviously, what happens? Valentina Rodionenko, head coach of the Russian artistic gymnastic team, expressed her dissatisfaction with Simone Biles' victory at the World Championship in Antwerp. The American gymnast won gold in the team and individual all around, as well as silver involved. And so this is what Miss Valentina says. I want to express my regrets about Biles' victory. What is gymnastics? It's scary to watch. Do you think there is at least some kind of aesthetic there? Low. There is simply nothing to watch. She has no great performance, only difficulty. She only wins through difficulty. We will now submit these questions to the International Federation. What shall prevail? Beauty and high level of performance while respecting the rules? Or will we only follow the path of complexity? So what will artistic gymnastic look like? Surprise with tips? That's a big question. Unfortunately, during these championships, we did not see a single gymnast with a high level of performance. I can only mention the Chinese on the uneven bars. Disappointed, says Rodionenko. Rodionenko said in an interview on Match TV. And I only found this on someone on Twitter sort of alerted us to it, and I found it on Reddit, and I couldn't find her interview on other places. So this is the only place I found it, on Reddit and here. And so, and it's just like, so European, and on top of that, isn't Russia banned? Coming to think, I'm just thinking about it. It's like, oh wait, isn't Russia banned from World Gymnastics? Am I mistaken? Like they're banned for performance-enhancing drugs or something like that? I have to go back. I just realized I should have checked, and I didn't even think about it. But she has an issue because Simone Biles, I mean, if you see her performance, it's very artistic, but it's also a level of difficulty that she alone can perform. That's why her name is on quite a few of those difficult rotations. Other gymnasts can't meet her performance and they can't meet her level. So what happens? Let's down her as only one who can do difficulties, and she is not artistic. So, we're going to go submit this to the International Federation to what? Take away the level of difficulties that she is performing so that other girls like her, girls in Russia, could catch up. I mean, again, when Black women succeed is moving the goalposts. When I remember growing up in Russia and China, and they were the leaders. I mean, these girls, I mean, they look like 10-year-olds, were doing these kind of difficulties. And you're like, oh my gosh, nobody said a word. But now a Black girl is doing it, and not even girl, a woman is doing it, and she is the best in the world, and they can't catch up. What happened? Let's go to the manager and let's change the rules. And this shouldn't be surprised because this was her in 2021. Wootton & Co. Her comment in 2021 was, remove Biles and we could easily beat the US team. So you know where that's coming from, where that attitude of, the difficulties. So she was doing a whole long interview, and part of the interviewer asked her, she said, it's hard to understand how ready the Americans, Japanese, Chinese gymnasts are now. There are no competitions, and there's very little information about the rivals because, again, it's during the pandemic. And her response was, have you seen Biles? What is there even to say? She's 70% of the American team. You remove her, and we easily beat them. And then she goes on to diss the guys and all the rest. But this is her thing. We remove Biles, we get rid of her because she's 70% of the American team. Now, that's correct. I mean, she's not lying there. You remove Biles and they can. That is why she's going after that. That is why she's going after Simone Biles. She knows if she can get Biles out of the way, they can go after the American team. All of a sudden you have these Black, and again, with, these Black girls performing and winning, and all of a sudden, there we are. It is just, it is unreal. As Black women, and again, I'd love to say this is an exception, but it happens every single time when Black women and Black people are in these spaces where normally white people think, okay, that's not where you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be at this level that is considered a white sport. Gymnastics, you think tennis, you think golf. When Black people succeed in these and they're at the top, this is what you see happen every single time. And they start moving the goalposts. When Serena and Venus came on, and all of a sudden she is too muscular. She looked manly. She's aggressive. All of those things, and all of a sudden, it just, it is so tiring as Black people, especially Black women, to see this every single time. And it's like, Simone Biles is incredible. How about you get your Russian kids and the Russian people to get to that level? You see the same thing with, again, you're talking about tennis. You can't get to Serena's level. So what do? They use performance-enhancing drugs, all the while attacking Serena and Venus, and it's just, how about get your people to their level and so that they can compete instead of trying to change the rules to make it easier for your girls and then trying to completely squash the achievement of the Black athletes or people or whatever the situation. It's so tiring. It is so incredibly tiring, but not surprising because I expected this behavior because it happens every single time. And it just, it is unreal. It's like, but whatever your deal is with Miss Wootton & Co., you go deal with your issues. We're going to be over here celebrating Simone and, the Williams says, well, they're not, at least Serena is no longer in tennis, but and now we have Coco and maybe Naomi coming back and all the other girls that and guys that are coming up. We're gonna celebrate them no matter what you do. But I just have to point this out. This is just so it's so ridiculous. Black Queen says, yes, the Russians can't do anything without performance enhancing drug. Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot. And it's just like, and even in tennis, you had Maria Sharapova doing performance enhancing drugs. We just recently had another one. I don't know that she is from Russia. I don't remember. I don't think she is, but one of those European countries that is just, I don't know how long she's banned for, but she is also, apparently using performance enhancing drugs. While Serena was playing, we had other girls, even when they were going after Serena and claiming that she was, there were other girls doing it, and it's just like, and it's crazy. It is absolutely, absolutely crazy to see. Let's see. Marianne says Black women are dominating in sports that are traditionally dominated by white women. Yeah, exactly. Whether it's tennis or golf. Well, I don't know golf. I haven't paid attention to golf, but definitely gymnastics. I mean, again, when I was growing up, you didn't see Black women, one or two maybe. You saw Dominique Dawes, and then the rest of them are all white girls, and they were all or Chinese and whatever, and they were fantastic. They were absolutely fantastic. But now with Black girls literally dominating, and not just Black, you have Asian girls in the American team. It was very, very mixed. White, Asian, Black. I mean, yeah. And then you had not even in the US team, but then you had the girl from Brazil. And it's just like very mixed. And now all of a sudden, there's an issue. There is no artistry. It's only difficulty. And it's just like, sit down, lady. Just sit down. Black Green says they accuse Usain Bolt of that and we want to achieve anything without them trying to tear us down. Yeah, very, very true. Very, very true. Emerald says whenever we Black people enter a space, it seems an opportunity lost. Our existence in any space angers them. J.J. McAvoy, author. Yeah, it's just like, they enter our space, they will come in and they will appropriate our music or hairstyle or all of that stuff, and they feel perfectly fine coming in. They will even try to take the slangs and all of that stuff. They come in and take it and feel perfectly fine. But when we enter a space that is predominantly, or, in history, they dominated, it's always a problem. It is always a problem. I'm like, but you come into our space, steal our music, make money off of our music, take our music out and feel perfectly fine. But then you have an issue when it just, again, it is tiring. Marianne says the Williams sisters in their many years of playing tennis never tested positive. Yeah, no, they never. They never tested positive. And I think, they were probably some of the most tested people. They would test, ridiculous amount of tests, because again, they just couldn't believe that they were that good. They had to be on performance enhancing drugs. Of course they had to. We would never believe Maria Sharapova would ever do it, but there we are. Simona Halep is the other one that just recently they banned. I don't know how long she's banned for, but they just banned her for performance enhancing drugs. And she was the one that beat Serena in 2019 when Meghan was there with her friends. She was the one that won Wimbledon there. Yeah, she just recently got banned for performance enhancing drugs. And Serena, I think Serena and Alex were a little bit shady. People were attacking them for their, it's like, was she doing it then? And people were angry at, what they thought was a shade from Serena, more angry at her than they were angry at the fact that Simona Halep just got banned for performance enhancing drugs. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy, you know. Um, who else? Yeah, this is so true. This is so true. Serena was tested more than any of the others. Yeah, this is so true. Yep. Um, Lady T says Simone Biles is a gymnast. What is her craft? And she happens to be great at it. That is her craft. She happens to be great at it. So you want her to be less great? No, won't happen. I mean, as squaddies, when you think of, put it in terms of royal, what did the royal family want Meghan to do? When they realized how excellent she was at all things, what did they want her to do? 50% less of herself. That is the big thing. That's the thing. The others can't measure up. So we need you to be 50% less so that the others, so that you don't stand out, and your excellence don't shine out, shine, and and the others look bad. So let's take away some of the let's take away some of the difficulties from Simone Biles so that the others don't look as bad. It is just like, and we know what that means. Let the white girls in her troop not look bad. It's crazy. Yeah, Romania. Okay, so Halep is from Romania. Yeah, and the funny thing with that is Serena's coach, the guy who used to coach Serena, when Serena stopped playing, he started coaching Halep. It was very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. It's like, okay. And then when Coco won, it was just really crazy because when Coco won the US Open recently, I think it was NBC did a sort of an interview, whatever, bigging up that coach and basically giving him credit for Coco's win. And people like, excuse me? And in that interview, none of them brought up the fact that this guy was coaching Simona Halep when she got banned for drugs. And it's just like, and yet they want to give that guy credit for Coco. Yeah, he had an academy when Coco was young, much younger. She went there, but he was never her coach. He was never her full-time coach or anything like that. But instead of, giving credit to her dad and also to Brad Gilbert and his team who started coaching her in July, and then she started just winning, instead of giving them credit, they gave this guy credit. And it's just like, what's his name? Patrick Muratoglu or whatever his name is. It was just incredible. It's just like, are you serious? You're giving Coco credit for Coco's winning the US Open to this? It's just like, what? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyways, let's stay in the chat for a bit before we end. So I think this is all I had to share on that stuff. Yeah, that's all I got. But I'll stay in the chat for a couple more minutes before I run off. Let's see. Hmm. Little man says Raffaella Bertoni. She is amazing. She did more in 18 months than Kate has done in 12 years. She's been in the royal family. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's why they wanted her to be 50% less of herself. Amazing. Unbelievable. Let's see. Bakwe says yes, they do that all the time. They mentioned Simone's coach as well. Yeah. Well, I mean, at least that was her coach. Muratoglu was not, I'm sure I think he was one of maybe like an advisor or whatever, but she had always had like a main coach. He's never been her main coach. He might be been part of her coaching staff for a bit, but he was never her main coach. So for them to pick him out and give him credit for her victory, winning the US Open, was a little ridiculous. While Brad Gilbert was right there, and her dad, who's coached her forever, and then she was just doing horrible at the beginning of the year, and then Brad Gilbert came in and really helped her with her confidence and all that stuff during this. I think starting in like July around there. And instead of giving them credit, they gave it to Patrick Muratoglu. It's like, hello. So they got roundly called out for that bit of mess. Like what? So oh, hope you had a fun time mowing your lawn, Joseph. Hope it's nice and I hope it's nice and short and everything. So, but I'm happy you're here. We'll be ending soon, but that's okay. Replay is there, so you can always get it. Let's see. Marianne says it is the same demeaning mantra. Black people just cannot win like other people. Oh no, this is like gymnastics while black is one of those. It's just like, oh God. Let's see. Anne Louis says, Sharon Maitland, that skater was brilliant, and I watched her many times. She has done some awesome flips. She was great in her skating, but always downgraded. I'm not sure who you're referring to. Let us know which skater you're referring to. Let's see. A few more before we end. Lil Max says, oh, she's talking to Black Queen. They also attributed braids to Bo Derek and rap to Blondie. Oh, I know, right? I know. It's just, yeah. And they feel perfectly fine doing it. They feel perfectly fine doing it, And then it's just, yeah. It's almost like a right. This is our right to do it. But don't you dare come into what's considered our sports and try to take over. Don't you dare do that. So anyways. Black Queen says they went and searched for the manager and came of some camp that Amanda Gorman went to a long time ago, forcing her to give them credit for her stalwart performance at the inauguration. Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my gosh. I never heard this. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. That's interesting. That is very, very, very interesting. Wow. Diane said, oh, she's talking to Sharon. You're correct. Surya Bonali, the girl from France. I never got the credit she deserved as a pro skater, who they always referred to as athletic, but never graceful. Okay, this one, Surya Bonali was if you don't know, she was a skater from France, and she was adopted by this white couple, I think, in France. I think she's originally obviously from Africa. I don't remember what country in Africa she was from. And so she's very athletic. She was a tumbler actually, and so she was doing some like tumbles and stuff. I can't say I too much disagree with, if you've seen, I mean, I'm sure you look at it on YouTube. I'm sure there are performances of Surya Bonali there. I agree in the sense of Surya is in this case, if you want to say like Surya Bonali, her artistic talents was far outweigh, or the difficulties and the tumbles and stuff far was ahead of her artistic in terms of skating. For me, that is correct, because I used to watch her all the time. She was one of my favorites, and I used to love her jumps and her flips and all of that stuff. But for me, the artistic part of her, it definitely coming to the end, or coming, when she, obviously when she grew up a little bit, it was so much better than when she started. But it wasn't compared to, even say like Debbie Thomas, or one of those Debbie Thomas, you don't know, she's a black, I think she won like a silver medal in the Olympics. In figure skating. And so even like compared to, Debbie Thomas or others, she wasn't at that level. There was a big divide in her athleticism and the difficulty in those things. than in, so there was a big divide between that and her artistic talents. And so, if I would say, this could be a fairer comment for Syria than it would say be for Simone. Simone is very, she does her thing, and she's very artistic. But there is a bigger divide when it comes, for me, when it comes with Syria, because I love Syria. I used to watch her all the time when she performs. She's actually one of my favorites. I love the tumbling, I love her jumps and all of those things. But yeah, the artistic, it definitely grew as she grew, but it wasn't, even say compared to Debbie Thomas, who is a black figure skater. And on Debbie Thomas, I think her life just went south after all of that stuff. I am hoping she's okay. So yeah, she's suffered with a lot of issues, including mental health struggles and all of that stuff. So maybe you can keep her in your prayers with her and her situation. But yeah, but I love Syria. I love. I grew up on watching tennis and figure skating and gymnastics. So I'm like, I love those things. So yeah. Lady T says they banned her flips in ice skating for women because nobody else was capable. I see stuff like that. I mean, there you go. I didn't realize her flips were banned. So when I was watching it, she was doing it in competition. So it just, yeah. Yes. Again. So, oh, wait. She got a bronze? I thought she got a silver. She says, actually, Debbie was favored to win, but she ended up with a bronze. Oh, I didn't realize. For some reason, I thought she had the silver. She is 40. Surya is now 49. Wow. Like, you see, I'm dating myself because I grew up watching Syria. So there you go. Wow. Interesting. I gotta go back and watch. I haven't gone back and watched her performances, but I've always loved her. So yeah. But anyways, guys, I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me as we talk. We have gone from all over the place in this podcast. It was like Harry and Meghan to Middle East to Dan Wootton and Crazy Calvin, and now tennis and gymnastics and skating. We have been all over the place today. So thank you for just indulging me in all my passions in life, I guess, and talking about it. So yeah. Oh wow. So a little bit of Debbie Thomas, so sad. I saw a piece on her about her shattered life and WVA. Pray that she's doing better. Yes, please do. Please do. She, when she was skating, she was at the height of her life, and things literally went south with her life. So please pray that things are doing better for her. So anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging with me. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia Church, Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, Black Queen. You are awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to our wonderful 2 Cents crew who support the channel on a monthly basis, and also in the chat, our awesome Ghost Love supporters who support in the chat as well. Thank you for your donations, and on PayPal and Cash Apps. I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys so much. I love you all, and I shall talk to you later. Bye.